country, I can say that since the first time, people are very friendly here at the university. I mean the professors and the colleagues, because in the first year, last year, I was living in the residence of the students. And then, since the first day, my roommate, she is from Cabo Verde. And then she said to me, anything you need, anything that I can help you, please, you get in touch. And this has been my experience with the colleagues. And to see that they are foreigner students from Cabo Verde, from Angola, Mozambique, Senegal, Guinea-Bissau, so many different countries. And from Portugal, that I would have later when I was having classes, and also Brazilian student in my course. So I can tell you that I could find things that I need since the first day. So I could feel safe in this. And this is very important, because I would like to say that when we arrive, when we are in the first days, it's so surprising. Everything is new. So it seems that we are flying, you know. And then we do not have time to think about some practical things, and especially about the distance from our own country and the family and our friends. So only maybe 1 or 2 months later, then we are, you know, thinking about these things. So this is really important when we feel safe. And this was very important because I could feel safe and with friendly people around. So it's very important to share this experience.
That was actually one of the questions I wanted to ask you, which is when do you feel at home in Portugal? When do you feel abroad in Portugal?
Oh, well, for the discrimination, this feeling, I have little bit feeling for, little bit feeling. Because I'm from Asian, the Asian people in Portugal is not many Asian people. So I think, I don't call it is a discrimination. I call it maybe kind of culture shock. For our Asian, we have a different culture, different background information, background with the European. For example, the European, when they meet each other, they will kissing on the kiss, be genius. But for our Asian, especially Chinese, we won't do that. We won't do that. I have to learn it when I arrived to Portugal. Yeah, I'm like, oh, you guys kissing on your face? It's strange for me. Okay. Yeah, at the first time I'm be genius, I feel surprised. Oh, what are you doing? Oh, what are you doing? What is this? Okay, but I know this is a culture shock in Asia and European, and I have to learn it because I'm studying here, I'm living here. I have to change myself in an Asian to a European. Yeah.
Without losing your identity, I hope.
Yeah.
Right? Kevin, you've been around for 2 decades now. How did you see the evolution? I mean, what was different 2 decades ago, and it's better or worse now?
He makes a very good point, because one of the big issues is body language. Coming from a British background where you keep your distance, I found Portuguese people always too close. And so I would tend to back off. And the kissing thing is also interesting because my mother has adopted kissing since visiting Lisbon. I now have to kiss her on each cheek every time we meet. I think body language is very strange, the touching kind of thing. It's the little things that make the big differences in terms of culture. When I arrived here in the early 1990s, the place was very different because it was pre-globalization. I was amazed that people would queue for hour after hour after hour to hand in their tax declaration form. It was just so slow at that stage. You come to a country that is now functional. I mean, it's had a difficult time over austerity, but in the 1990s, Lisbon people would always claim, nobody knows where Portugal is. And it was a huge issue for Portuguese people. They confuse us with the Spanish. And now, in 2015, 2 of the most famous people on the planet are Portuguese. It may only be Jose Mourinho and Cristiano, but it's not a bad record for 10 million people. And in terms of politicians as well, I think the way Lisbon society works in particular, because it's very close, it's very class-based traditionally, I think that's why Portuguese people are such good politicians. I mean, the record, Durão Barroso, José Sampaio, António Guterres, 3 very senior politicians worldwide. And I think that's because there is a very intricate culture in the way that people deal with each other. I don't think it will be as apparent in your generation, perhaps, but certainly in people of our age.
Well, the advantage for you is that you do not have to worry about that. I mean, you get a leeway for not being local, so people will tolerate if you do a bit of faux pas and don't kiss on the right cheeks and things like that.
That is totally true. I even refuse to speak Portuguese. I have to be honest. I am a language fascist. If I get the chance to speak English, I will speak English. And that is primarily because people make more sense when they make an effort to speak English. Because if they're speaking in Portuguese, there is a level of formality that they maintain. And if they switch to English, it becomes much more direct.
Yeah, this is even true if you are coming from Portuguese-speaking countries. I mean, the level of formality is different, and the social rules and norms and protocols are different in different areas of Portuguese-speaking countries, and certainly very different from where you come from, right?
Well, in terms of formality and language, I would say actually I found that Portugal is a lot like being in Africa. Being in Africa, I always say this to my friends and colleagues that when I arrived here, I felt at home. From the way that people speak loudly to the way that life is taken at a relaxed pace. In that sense, to me, it feels a lot like Africa. And I don't know about maybe the rest of the parts of Africa, but in Zimbabwe, we do also have that very formal sort of culture where everyone is addressed with a title. Whether you're talking to your sister or your brother, you address them as older sister, older brother, or uncle, or aunt, or whatever. So for me, in that sense, it's easy to integrate into Portuguese culture where you have those boundaries and, yeah, those set formalities that you have to follow.
So I came from further away than you.